Let's take a look at Naty's presentation. And okay, Naty, it's all yours. And let's see what you have to say.
Okay.
Okay, the image is close to appearing on the screen. And then we're going to listen to Naty presenting her topic.
Yeah, thank you. It's slowing.
Yeah, that's all right. The important thing is that you have determined which paintings you liked and which ones you are going to present. So that is truly nice. When we talk about art, it also produces some emotions, some excitement, some surprise, some awe. Sometimes people are stunned and they say, "What is this? This is just impressive." The combination of colors, forms, lights, um, all the subtleties that paintings reflect or portray. So when we talk about art, it's basically directed to produce some emotions. And well, look at that. Oh, that is just amazing. Visual tour. We're going to see some of these Netherlands. There, yes.
Well, um, yes, this is then spring morning in the Han Palace. Well, the reason that explain that I like it, it's because, well, first, if you can see, well, if I apply more zoom, yes. Um, I at the first time I see like the Chinese people, or yes, well, in my mind it's the Chinese people. But I want to read more about this. This exquisite sealed hand scroll shows an imaginary Chinese imperial palace, although made around 1542. The painting is set over 2000 years ago, during the Han Dynasty, which ended in 220 BCE. Hu Yi, a Ming Dynasty artist, was commissioned by the celebrated collector Xiang Yuanping to make this painting during a period when China was researching its cultural and political identity. identity. The meticulously decorated scroll was designed to be unfurled an arm's length at a time and read much like a book. Well, for me, this represents the different women in this palace. It's so beautiful and so interesting to understand this concept. Well, maybe I only see like the meaningful part, but if you can see a detail of this painting, well, this is the well in this next images, we can see more specific points of this painting, and we can see about these little details and more about, for example, in this the elegant customs. It's in number three. Although the setting of the painting is imaginary, the elaborate garments worn by the women are faithful reproductions of Han Dynasty customs. These that I talk about us. Well, if we go more down, we can see more little details that at the same time we don't see it. But if we involucrate more, well, we can notice. And that's all of this paint.
Thank you very much, Nati. Thank you very much. Well, truly amazing. I liked it very much. I like the painting a lot. Honestly, I find that painting fantastic. Andrea, can you share your ideas, please? Can you share your thoughts about Nati's painting? Let me share one of the uh, amazing portraits that I saw in Nati's painting, right? I saw this and I found it truly amazing. I love this painting. Okay, what do you think about it? What do you think about it, Andrea? Please, what's your idea? What's your opinion?
Well, teacher, I think that is a painting really beautiful, but it's a little bit different than the ones that I like. Uh, I think that is more traditional, classical. I don't know, with the buildings and different. How do you say gama de colores?
Set of colors or color variety. Yeah. I would like very much that you show us your painting in a moment. I would like that you show us your painting in a moment. Talking about this for a little bit, how is for you, Andrea, the life of a palace? In this case, it's a Chinese palace, and you have the dynasty that have lasted thousands of years. It's not like a okay, this is a 100-year dynasty. No, this has been dynasties for generations. What comes to my mind is the customs people have, in this case, mostly women, in a palace. So let me ask both of you girls, both of you ladies, what do you think are the duties of these ladies in the palace? That is an easy question to make, right? What do you think are the duties? And not only the duties, the and leisure activities of these ladies in this palace. In other words, you not only have obligations, but you also have fun activities, you also have hobbies, you also have leisure activities. So, which ones do you think are the leisure activities and the duties, the obligations of these ladies in the palace? Andrea, what do you think?
Maybe the women are uh, have some kind of administration in the palace, uh,
Okay.
and control of the routines, for example, with the daily life.
Control of daily life, events or events. Okay. Maybe they organize some events. Like which ones? Which events they organize? Do you think? Maybe they organize tea parties. Tea parties, right? A tea party. Maybe they organize a game of cards. Maybe they organize a dance. Oops. Maybe they organize a dance. Um, what are the things they can manage? They obviously they have to organize the meals, right? Organize the meals. The meals is breakfast, lunch, dinner, and supper. When I say um, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and supper. What do you think about this, Nati, as the administration of the life in the palace that Andrea suggests? What is your opinion about this idea?
Oh well, that she has all in the correct on the correct context, because well, this painting obviously remonts years and years ago, when people think that only women do all these duties at the house. So maybe for us today it's like, well, we are different, like revolution or something like that. But this reflects all these activities and these moments that these girls live.
Right, exactly, exactly. Uh, what do you think? What do you think, Andrea, about the? Well, you mentioned the administration of the palace. Do you think the administration of a palace and the administration of a modern house, a modern home, has evolved, has changed dramatically, or it remains more or less the same? What do you think about that, Andrea?
Depends in which situation, teacher. But generally, I think that change a little bit, because the roles of the family and of the house, I think I see with my family, with my friends, that are divided between the father and the mother, the child, and uh, how do you say the very
The duties.
yes, teacher, the duties in the house is involucrate more members of the family.
Okay, that's very
Actually,
important. The duties in a home involve everyone in the family now. Now, right? The duties now, the duties in a home now involve everyone in the family. That's your concept, right?
right, teacher.
I believe this is very true. I believe that you are right when you say that the duties in a home now involve everyone in the family. Okay. Whereas in the past, okay, let's talk about the past. In the past, women managed or administered or managed, yeah, administered the life inside the palaces, and men were mostly warriors and worked outside the palace, right? They were in charge of fighting, uh, or hunting animals to eat, uh, etc. External duties outside the palace. So they had to fight for food, either or for territory. They had to find protection or shelter for the castles or palaces, and they had to hunt, kill animals to feed the family and everyone in the palace, right? Sometimes they conquered other territories, other nations, and had them as slaves, right? They also enslaved other people, right? They had slaves with the idea that those slaves were the servants of the king and the palace. But that's in the past. Now things have evolved. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nati, Andrea. I would like now for Andrea to share her favorite painting, please, and tell us a little bit about it, why you like it.
Well, teacher, I didn't choose a painting from the book that you sent, but I read a lot, uh, some of the introduction.
Hmm.
But well, I have a favorite painter that is Henry Matisse.
Oh, Matisse. He was a French painter, I believe.
Yes, teacher.
I don't know which genre he belongs to, Impressionism or Realism, or which genre Henri Matisse belongs to. Do you know Henri Matisse?
Mm, I don't know exactly the kind of um, the painting. I don't know the yes the kind.
Well, maybe you can read a little bit about his biography. We have it here if you wish, or if you prefer to show what you investigated about him. But we have something a bit about him here if you wish to read this small paragraph.
Yes, teacher, I can read about their his biography.
Okay.
Okay, Henry Matisse is in 1869 to 1954. Henry Matisse was a revolutionary and influential artist of the early 20th 20th century, best known for the expressive color and form of his Fabius style. Who has Henry Matisse? Over a six-decade career, artist Henry Matisse worked in all media, from painting to sculpture to printmaking. Although his subjects were traditional nude figures in landscapes, portraits, interior views, and his revolutionary use of brilliant color and exaggerated form to express emotion made him one of the most influential artists of the 20th century. In 1891, Matisse moved to Paris. From artistic training, he took instruction from famous older artists at well-known schools such as the Académie Julian and the École des Beaux-Arts. I can pronounce French very well, teacher, sorry.
Don't worry.
These schools taught according to the academic method, which required working from live models and copying the works of old masters. But Matisse was also exposed to the recent post-impressionist work of Paul Cézanne and Vincent van Gogh while living in Paris. Oh, teacher, I find the answer. Is a post-impressionist.
Fantastic. He's a
Oh,
post impressionist, all right. Very nice. It's good to know.
yes, teacher. Um, by the turn of the 20th century, Matisse had come under the more progressive influence of Georges Seurat and Paul Signac, who painted in pointillist style with small dots of color rather than full brush strokes. He stopped exhibiting at the official salon and began submitting his art to the more progressive Salon des Independents in 1901. In 1904, he had his first one-man exhibition at the Gallery of Diller and Broyce Bollard. And well, my favorite painting of him is the dance. Do you know this painting teacher or Nati?
No, which is the name of the painting?
The dance.
The dance. The dance. Okay.
I like the colors. I like the color blue, the movement of the people.
The
I
dance. Let's
feel
see.
very happy when I see this painting.
Is this one the dance?
Yes, dance.
The dance by Henri Matisse. Okay. It's very colorful. It shows people in movement. Yeah, it has an interesting meaning, of course. Um, I think it's a good painting, of course. Uh, okay, very good. Henri Matisse, great painter from France. And thank you very much, Andrea, for your comment about this fabulous painter. Now, a question, Nati, what is your opinion about this presentation from Andrea? What did you like about it? How did you find it?
Well, I found all these colors that, well, she mentioned it, that transmit this happy emotion, this like the trust and to believe. It's a combination of all it that only demonstrates that this maybe it's more to the, I don't know, dancers or something like that, to feeling that the moves or the, can you hear me?
Yes, 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 we can hear you. Yes, of course.
Okay, okay. Well, and yeah, that's all.
Okay, so you like the colors. What is now questions of general ideas. What is the purpose of a painting? Why do people paint? What is the purpose of a painting? Andrea, what do you think is the purpose of a painting? Why do people paint to begin with?
Um, I think for transmit emotions and feelings. Uh, for example, when the people write or when the people dance, is a kind of expression of the people.
Okay, to express their emotions. Okay, very good. What about you, Nati? Thank you, Andrea. What about you? What is the purpose of a painting? Why do people paint throughout history?
Well, at least to attract others, trying to make them watch this work for more than a few seconds, trying to make them plunge into a travel. So these paintings, in order to find like things, visual gifts that cannot be um, appreciable, and to have a focal point.
You have a focal point on what exactly? On what? On the costumes, on the emotions, on the people, on what precisely, or on a specific idea or in a general idea. This idea of having a focal point on what? On what exactly?
Well, I consider that on on all of you mentioned, because, well, for example, maybe I'm like, oh, this costume is so beautiful, and you say, no, it's better the, I don't know, the shoes or something like that. So it depends.
Okay. So can we say that you want to have a focal point on costumes of the time of the time, and that includes the manners, outfits, um, obviously customs, folklore, um, uses of the time, uh, past times, what people activities people did, activities and emotions of the time, of course, right? That's why you have different styles. You have the cubism, you have the realism, you have the postmodernism, you have a tremendous set of ideas about different things, of course. So, well, that is the purpose of painting. Another question that I have about this interesting topic is, uh, well, why are these painters so famous? Why are these painters so famous? You know that there is a Mexican painter that is tremendously famous. You know Diego Rivera. Painters. Why are these painters so famous? Um, what do we know about Diego Rivera? Frida Kahlo, for example. Frida Kahlo. There is another famous painter, Jose Clemente Orozco. Do you know anything about him? What do you know about Jose Clemente Orozco, for example? Did you know that Jose Clemente Orozco has some paintings in the Vatican, for example? There is a gallery where there are paintings from Picasso, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Matisse, Van Gogh, Rembrandt, Renoir, uh, Diego Rivera, of course, and Jose Clemente Orozco. Did you know that there are Mexican painters that have given their paintings to the Vatican? Did you know that, Andrea?
Not with more details, teacher. Only that he was a moralist. How do you say moralista?
Muralist.
Yes, teacher. Only that.
Okay,
But I don't know about his painters.
okay. Um, okay. Okay. What do you know about these people, Nati? What do you know about Jose Clemente Orozco, Diego Rivera, Frida Kahlo?
Well, about Jose Clemente Orozco, I never heard about him, but I'm searching on Google, and yeah, he was a Mexican painter. I know more about Frida Kahlo
Okay.
and Diego Rivera. Well, we know about Frida Kahlo that she was a fighter girl. She survived uh, at the at her time. She she had a lot of, how do you say, retos, challenges.
Challenges.
She had a lot of challenges, but well, for me, she's how do you say, ejemplo a seguir,
Example to follow.
an example to follow. And yeah,
Okay. Why do you admire Frida Kahlo? What makes you admire her?
well, principally we because I love her paintings. Um, I love that she had like a different um, stereotype. Stereo, how do you say stereotypo?
Stereotype.
Oh, stereotype.
Stereotype.
Stereotype. Um, with this with her face. Um, she she was like so a new images, and she revolutionized all these cases.
Mm, okay, interesting, interesting. Well, very good, very good. That's a great comment about Frida Kahlo. Let's read a little bit about José Clemente Orozco. Do you want to share something about José Clemente Orozco? Andrea, please, you want to read something about him?
Yes,
Maybe we have a little bit of his biography here. José Clemente Orozco, right? Here we have some biographies about him. All right, let's see. José Clemente Orozco, murals and biography. Let's see if you want to read something about him.
Teacher, can you share us, please?
Yeah, can you? I am I share? I think I'm sharing the screen. Let me share the screen. All right, I think I'm gonna share the screen now. All right, here it is. I believe it's there now. Um, Jose Clemente Orozco. Here, can you read? Oops. Can you read?
yes, teacher. José Clemente Orozco. José Clemente Orozco was a painter who helped lead the revival of Mexican mural painting in the 1920s. His works are complex and often
Tragic.
tragic. Here was José Clemente Orozco. Mexican muralist José Clemente Orozco created impressive realistic paintings, a product of the Mexican Revolution. He overcame poverty and eventually traveled to the United States and Europe to paint frescoes for major institutions. A man of unparalleled,
Unparalleled vision,
unparalleled vision, as well as striking contradiction,
striking, as well as striking contradiction.
as well as striking, as well as striking contradiction,
Striking contradiction. S-
striking contradiction.
Okay.
He died of heart failure at age 65.
Okay. Then early life, Nati, do you want to read his early life, please?
Yes, teacher. Early life. Born in Mexico in 1883, Orozco was raised in Zapotlan el Grande, a small city in Mexico's southwestern region of Jalisco. When he was still a young boy, Orozco's parents moved to Mexico City in hopes of making a better life for their three children. His father, Ireneo, was a businessman, and his mother, Maria Rosa, worked as a homemaker and sometimes sang for extra income. Despite his parents' efforts, they often lived on the edge of poverty. The Mexican Revolution was heating up, and being a highly sensitive child, Orozco began noticing the many hardships people around him faced. While walking to school, he witnessed the Mexican cartoonist Jose Guadalupe Posada working in an open shop window. Posadas politically engaged paintings not only intrigued,
Intrigued, Orozco.
intrigued Orozco, but they also
Awakened.
awakened his first understanding of art as a powerful expression of political revolt.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's read about Orozco's teenage years. Andrea, please.
Teenage years and injury. At age 15, Orozco left the city and traveled to the countryside. His parents sent him away to study agricultural engineering, a profession he had very little interest in pursuing. pursuing. While at school, he contracted rheumatic fever. His father died of typhus soon after he returned home. Perhaps, perhaps Orozco finally felt free to pursue, how,
Pursue.
free to pursue his true passion, because almost immediately he began taking art class at San Carlos Academy. To support his mother, he also worked small jobs, first as a draftsman for an architectural firm, and then later as a postmodern painter, hand coloring portraits of the dead. dead.
Of the dead. Portraits of the dead. Okay. Thank you very much, Andrea. Nati, can you read one last paragraph about Orozco, please?
Yes, teacher. Around the time Orozco became certain about pursuing a career in art, tragedy struck. While mixing chemicals to make fireworks to celebrate Mexico's Independence Day in 1904, he created an accidental explosion that injured his left arm and wrist. Due the national festivities, a doctor did not see him for several days. By the time he was seen, gangrene had taken over and it was necessary to amputate his entire left hand. And as he healed, the Mexican Revolution was imminent in everyone's mind, and the personal suffering Orozco experienced was mirrored in the growing political strife happening all around him.
Okay, well. So as you can see, this man was from Los Altos of Jalisco. He had a close link to the revolution. It was important that he took classes in the San Carlos Academy, but it was more or less a tragic life, close to tragic, if not totally tragic. And this is sometimes the case with many artists that have a very intense life. And this is, this is, this is unfortunate. But it is correct connected with the it is connected with the life of many people, many artists. Many artists have the suffering. You see, the life of Beethoven is full of tragedy. You see the life of other painters, musicians, sculptors, writers, playwriters, etc. So sometimes the fame and fortune of some artists is connected with tragedy. Why do you think is this so? I mean, I once made a question, and I ask you this question too, ladies. Is it possible? Is it possible for artists to be? Is it possible for artists to be happy, or is it necessary for artists to live a tragic life to become famous? Or a third question, or is it possible that they actually lived a happy life, but historians make a tragedy of their lives to make them more popular? Okay, what do you think about these three questions? These are three different questions, and really, I'm totally honest with you, ladies, that I have made myself these three questions. I have made myself these three questions. What do you think? Is it possible for artists to be happy, or is it necessary for artists to live a tragic life to become famous? Or also, is it possible that they actually lived a happy life, but historians change it to make it more attractive? What do you think? Let's begin with Andrea, please. What do you think, Andrea, please, about these three questions?
Oh, teacher. I think in the past, the most popular painters was in a difficult situations
Yes.
in their life. For this reason, maybe I think that is a extra point to to be famous. And in sometimes the artists die and um, and after they they be popular. They be popular.
After they became popular.
Yes,
Okay.
but now I think that changed a little bit also because more uh, famous painters, modern famous painters, um, are popular. How do you say por medio de las redes sociales?
Due to or through 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 social media.
Yes, teacher. And the people know the work, the paintings that they create, and it's possible be happy and have the time to be happy for I
Yes.
think for the modern artist.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Nati, what do you think about these three questions? Okay, actually, um, Andrea, can you please respond to question two and three? And then we ask Nati these three questions.
Number two, teacher. Uh,
Yes, please.
I think for the people is more attractive a difficult or a tragic situation. It's like a kind of morbo.
Morbid, morbid.
Morbo. Yes, teacher. And maybe we can think that they are more how do you say interesantes?
Interesting.
More interesting, yes, teacher. Uh, uh, for example, because in with these people with tragic life, they uh, paint this kind of situation, and we think about this situation we when we are watching
The painting.
the painting. Yes, teacher,
Uh,
and can transmit some different feelings to us, and maybe we are thinking why or what happened in this moment, what happened with the people. It's
right.
interesting think in difficult situation, teacher.
Right, of course. Of course, of course. Okay, very interesting. Thank you very much. Nati, what do you think about these three questions? We have three questions that we would like to discuss. We would like to discuss what you think about these three questions. The first, do you think that any artist, Beethoven, Van Gogh, Goethe, Octavio Paz, Jorge Luis Borges, writers, painters, artists in general can be happy, or they all have to be or have tragic lives? Frédéric Chopin, for example, a famous pianist, a famous piano player, he died out of tuberculosis. Mozart died very young. Beethoven died, he was deaf and he died mostly in more or less in poverty. Many painters, many great artists have died in poverty. But the question is it possible for artists to be happy, wealthy, to live happy lives? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is possible. Maybe not at the beginning, because well, we know that if they show us their art, um, maybe always have a purpose. Not it's only because oh well I took a pencil and I only do a tree. No, it's because you feel like, in example, this tree transmit, I don't know, this healthy for you, this love, or things like that demonstrate or your feelings. But yes, my final answer is yes.
So it is possible. And you mentioned something very, very interesting and very important. You said that artists have a purpose. I believe that's extremely important, very important. And they want to show your feelings. They want to show their feelings, actually. They want to show all their feelings, actually. The sentence should be they want to show their feelings, not my feelings, right? Of course. So they want to show their feelings, show and share their feelings. Oh, very good, Nati. Thank you very much. Now, question number three, Andrea. Is it possible that painters, musicians, singers, sculptors, writers have had a happy life, but historians change it and they make a tragedy to make it more popular? Do you think that is also possible? That they make the history of a person a little bit tragic to make it more enticing, more attractive? People are morbid, as you said. So, is it possible that this situation also occurs? What do you think, Andrea? So, do you think? Oh, Andrea disappeared. Andrea is no longer with us. Let's see if she comes back. But okay, Nati, let's chat with you. Do you think that it's possible that uh, scientists, not scientists, do you think that it's possible? Um,
Yes. Well, I don't very sure, and I don't know for a name of an artist that do this. But maybe when you know or yes, you know your popularity increase. Well, you are like I need to create more. more paintings to, I don't know, to the sad Felix, for example. And this function for me, for my money, for all of these things. And I I don't know the name exactly, but it's strange when your mind is, connect on all of these paintings. It's not the same that you create in your first productions, maybe 100 paintings. Okay, this is like what, you're a principiant, or maybe yes,
A beginner, right?
it's a beginner, and you are like production all of this. It's strange, and it's only to analyze all of those these situations. And yeah, it's all to manage with the money.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Nati. Andrea, we're talking about question number three. The question is that if it is possible that actually artists have a happy life, but historians make a tragedy to make it more attractive. They make a big theater. They say, well, this artist, probably the musician, Beethoven, for example, maybe he was happy, but historians change his life. They exaggerate tragedies. Yes, he was deaf. He could not hear very well. He made this fantastic Ninth Symphony. He could not listen to the applause of people when the presentation was made. So, is it possible that historians exaggerate and make a tragedy to make the story more popular? That's the topic that we're talking about now. Andrea, what do you think? What is your idea, Andrea, about this question?
I think that is possible, teacher. Um, for example, with some uh, stories of Disney, the original stories are some difference, are different that um, we know actually.
Right.
And if the people like um, biography,
Biographers?
no, no, no. For example, a biography of one person, if the people don't have more information, or or the information is unknown, and people can did a tragic history, or more interesting, more tragic, more com- complex. I think I think that, and um, I think in the movies, we are up and down with the feelings, because when the in the movie pass, how do you say, ocurre,
Happens. Happens.
uh, happens something romantic or sad or happy, we are with the heart on the hand, and we are nervous, pay attention, and um, uh, interesting about what happened in the movie, in a book. And I think that is possible, that increment the tragedy in
Tragedy. Tragedy.
tragedy, for do something more interesting.
Well, what you say is very true. Actually, psychologists call this the emotional roller coaster. A roller coaster is a montaña rusa, right? So, what you just said is exactly this emotional roller coaster. You have a lot of happiness, then you are sad, then there is suspense, suspense, then there is fear, then you have some curiosity, then you have a little bit of boredom, and then you have something exciting. So you are going through emotional roller coaster or emotional turmoil. Turmoil is exactly that. Goes up and down. Your feelings go up and down, and that makes it very attractive. That's what makes Disney movies or romantic movies or suspense movies very attractive. That you go through this emotional roller coaster, and this emotional roller coaster is what makes not only movies but relationships also become very attractive. What happens when there is boredom and routine in your relationships? They tend to fade. They tend to fail, right? So when you have this emotional roller coaster, this emotional turmoil, then situations, movies, the biographies, the lives of artists become very interesting. What do you think about these concepts, Nati? The emotional roller coaster, the emotional turmoil. What do you think? What's your idea, Nati, about this emotional roller coaster? I don't know if Nati's there. Are you there, Nati? We cannot hear
Yes,
you.
I'm talking with my microphone. I'm sorry. Well, I I think that this emotional roller coaster is the one of the things that characteristic us like humans, because you, well, for me, or the idea that I perceive is that a person cannot being like all the day, all the day happy. Maybe with a little 5 minutes you are like sad or like angry for something, either in your job, at the school, um, with your family. All these emotions that you transmit um, are that you can be a better person, and you do this or take this and control it.
What do you mean when you say you control it? What do you control?
um well, when I talk about that, I prefer like you put of your, maybe like your bad emotion, or not bad, maybe when you are like angry, well, your attitude are like more stressful, a person that don't need to talk with everyone, because if you talk with an angry person, maybe he or she hit you, so that is bad. And you need to control that things.
Those things.
Oh yeah, those things.
Okay, interesting, interesting. Uh, Thank you very much, Nati. Well, actually, what is the purpose of art? The purpose of art at the end is to provoke, to produce emotions in ourselves. Don't you agree with that? The purpose of art, the purpose of art, truly, the purpose of art, in a way, is to inspire us to produce emotions, to lead us to a roller coaster, perhaps. Do you agree with this? What's your comment about this, Andrea? What do you think?
I think that is correct, teacher, but in a on a specific form. Uh, for example, the painter. um, draw something, paint something, and we have to to do our interpretation. The message is not specific, like a letter or lyrics of music. It is I think that depends with the emotion, the people that are watching the painting, and why not in the emotional statement in
O-
some times.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. I like your comment a lot. Um, let's finish with this topic with your comment, Nati. What is your comment about this? Is it true that the purpose of art is to inspire us, to produce emotions, and to lead us to this roller coaster or turmoil or emotional turmoil? Or what is really the purpose of art? Or they want to teach us about the social norms of the time? Andrea says that it has a specific form that, unlike the lyrics of a song or the writing of a novel, the message in the case of paintings is not specific. What do you think about this very interesting thesis that Andrea has presented us?
Oh well, I totally agree with this context. There, and I added that both is to found your identity, because maybe sometimes we are like in a different world, and only we want a safe time, a safe place. And if your form of be secure is this art, in this case obviously the paintings, because we know that in the context of art we have music, um, well, these paintings, dance, and different things. But if you be good with an special painting, that that this painting transmits you a message, well, this is your place.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, ladies. I truly, truly, truly appreciate your opinions, your comments. They are truly, truly insightful. They are really, really good, and I would like to thank you. I would like to move on to another topic, which is no more and no less than a reading about the art of winning people. This is truly interesting, and let me share this with you. Let's go to these readings, which are truly interesting. How to win people to your way of thinking. And then we'd like to see the Socratic method. As I said, the Socratic method is nothing else than a series of questions that lead you to convincing a person of something. But you don't begin with the last line, you begin little by little. Let's read about this a little bit, please. Um, I don't know, Andrea, do you want to read about the secret of Socrates, please?
Yes, teacher. The secret of Socrates. In talking with people, don't begin by discussing this. How can
The
I pronounce
things,
discussion?
discussing,
Discussing. Don't begin by discussing the things in which you differ. Begin by em- emphasizing,
emphasizing.
emphasizing, and keep on emphasizing The things
emphasizing.
emphasizing
Yes.
the things on which you agree. Keep emphasizing, if possible, that you are both striving for the same end and that your only difference is one of method and
Method.
you method and not of purpose. Get the other person saying yes, yes, and the outset. Keep your opponent, if possible, from saying no. A no response, according to Professor Overstreet, is is a most difficult is a most difficult handicap to overcome. When you have said no, all your pride of personality demands that you remain consistent with yourself. You may later feel that the no was ill advised,
Ill advised, ill advised.
was ill advised. Never, nevertheless, there is your precious pride to consider. Once having said a thing, you feel you must stick to it. Hence, it is of the very greatest importance that a person be started in the affirmative direction.
Okay, this is very, very important. Actually, I'm gonna copy this uh, because there is this issue called pride. Pride, right? I can say, I can say incorrectly. I can say no incorrectly, right? So uh, if I say no at the beginning, if okay, let me change this. I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna put 26, right? If I say no or yes, if I say no or yes at the beginning, say yes or no at the beginning. It is very difficult for people to change their uh, initial uh, comment, mostly due to pride. 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 Okay, what do you think about this? I can say an initial yes, which is maybe terrible decision, or an initial no, which can be just very tragic, terrible, but it's difficult that I change my position because most people are very proud. People are proud. So people are proud, so proud that they don't want to change their initial comment. What do you think about this, Nati? That people are so proud
Um,
that they don't want to change their initial comment.
well, um, on my experience, I I can say that it it's true because we are um I thinking that maybe always all the time are in the or in the correct option in the correct way and take different options that for us are are the best. But sometimes this happens that our proud
Our pride.
our pride win and do that we don't think clearly.
Okay, very true. That's true. Well, we can take advantage of this comment by leading the person towards the goal that is usually positive for both of them, right? For example, when you want to sell something, you want to sell, let's say maybe you want to sell a bottle of wine, for example, right? You want to sell maybe a bottle of wine. How do you start the argument? How do you tell the person to go yes? How do you lead? How do you lead the potential customer to say yes, to say an initial yes? You wanna sell red wine, a bottle of red wine, and you want the potential customer to say an initial yes. How do you make the person say an initial yes? For example, can you say, uh, I suppose you like grapes, right? Or what else can you say for the person to say an initial yes? What can be the question or the comment, Andrea, Naty? What is your
Maybe,
yes?
sorry, teacher. Maybe if the people likes alcohol,
Okay. Well, that's a good question. You like, right? I suppose so. You begin with this, right? I suppose you like alcohol, right? Right? And people, well, you must be pretty sure that they do, right? You okay? I suppose you like alcohol, right? In moderate quantities, in moderate amounts, right? That can be an initial question, yes or not? Moderate amounts. I suppose you like alcohol in moderate amounts. What can be another initial question, Nati? What can be your initial question if you want a person to buy a bottle of red wine from you? What would be your initial question or your initial comment? You could say, I guess you you like elegant beverages, right? I guess you like elegant beverages, right? You can say that. What do you think about this initial comment? What do you think about this? This initial comment, Nati.
Well, I'm thinking. Mm, Maybe can be. Uh, mm, I sup. I suppose.
Suppose
Yes. I suppose. Um. That you like the new experiences.
experience, or that you like new experiences, right?
Right.
New experiences that are not dangerous, maybe. I suppose that you like new experiences that are not dangerous. You can begin like that, for example. Okay, so the idea is that you begin with a yes. You begin with the other person saying yes, right? You lead the other person to say yes. That's the idea, right? You lead the other person to say yes, and that is what opens the way for you. Okay, let's read here, please. Let's read this part, please. Who wants to read here, Nati, Andrea? Who wants to read?
Hey, teacher.
Okay.
Well, how to win people to your way of thinking? The skillful speaker gets at the outset a number of yes responses. This sets the psychological process of the listeners moving in the affirmative direction. It is like the movement of a billiard ball, propelled in one direction and it takes some force to deflect it, far more force to send it back in the opposite direction. The,
Continue,
psych-
please. Continue. Yes, yes, yes.
yes, the psychological patterns here are quite clear. When a person says no and really means it, he or she is doing far more than saying a word of two letters. The entire organism, glandular, nervous, muscular gathers itself together into a condition of erection. There is, usually, in minute but sometimes in observable degree, a physical withdrawal or readiness for withdrawal. The whole neuromuscular system, in short, sets itself on ward against acceptance. When, to the contrary, a person says yes, none of the withdrawal activities takes place. The organism is in a forward-moving, accepting, open attitude. Hence, the more yeses we can, at the very outset, induce, the more likely we are to succeed in capturing the attention for our ultimate proposal.
Okay, very well. So, what you are really doing is that you are prompting a set of yeses, right? So, really, a good sales person is prompting a good number of yeses. Do you agree with this concept, Andrea, that you want the other person, the potential client, to say yes? For example, you want to teach chess to your friends. So you want them to say yes to your initial comments, right? You could begin, for example, do you like to relax doing a great activity, a great, excuse me, mind activity? Do you like to relax doing a great mind activity? Or if they like excitement, or do you want to experience an exciting mental activity? You can begin with this. Most likely, they would say yes, of course. Do you want to play a game that provokes adrenaline, cortisol, that provokes a great excitement, a great experience? Sometimes you're going to be nervous, you're going to be anxious, but then you're going to be very relaxed, you're going to, etc. You can begin by requesting or prompting. This is a very important verb, prompting a good number of yeses. That is something that you want to entice in people. You want to provoke people to say yes, right? And you can set the questions. How do you like this idea, Andrea?
Uh, how, teacher? Do you ask me how do you like this idea?
Yes, yes, yes. What do you think about this idea of
Mhm.
prompting a good number of yeses? You want the potential client or your friend or your family to say yes many times, to say yes many times. You lead them to yeses, to say yes.
I think that is a good idea, and I think that we can get it with uh, a little bit different message to introduce. Uh, don't talk about exactly the product or the interest. Talk about, for example, of the benefits of the funny. For example, about the um, um, uh, talking about chess and some exercise of mind that is, for example, say that is not difficult, it's easy with practice, with motivation, and with, for example, sellers. Be kind and polite with the people, the strange people, and maybe close, friendly. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, very good idea. Very good idea. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's continue reading here. Let's continue reading here. So, um, for the ultimate proposal, let's continue reading here where it says it's very simple technique down to here, please. Who continues here, please?
Yes, teacher. It's very simple technique. This yes response, and yet how much it is neglected.
Neglected.
Neglected. It
Right.
often seems as if people get a sense of their own importance by antagonizing others at the outset. Get a student to say no at the beginning, or a customer, child, husband, or wife, and it takes the wisdom and the patience of angels to transform that bristling negative in an affirmative. The use of this yes, yes technique en- enable,
Enabled.
enabled James Everson, who was a teller in the Greenwich Savings Bank in New York City, to secure a prospective customer who might otherwise have been lost.
Okay. So you want to secure yeses because it is very difficult to make a person, husband, wife, anyone, to change their mind. It is very difficult to make a person change his her mind. It takes the patience of angels, right? It says it takes the patience of angels. And this is true. This is true. So you want to make a person, so you want to induce a person to say yes from the very beginning. From the very beginning. All right. So you want to say a person to say yes from the very beginning, even if it is a very basic yes, even if it is a very basic yes. Okay. Do you agree with this idea, Nati? Do you believe that it makes sense, that it is logical, or maybe there are some exceptions? What do you think, Nati? There are some exceptions, maybe, or it is important to get the person to say yes at the beginning? What's your idea, Nati?
Well, you mentioned that in this case can be uh, involucrate the exception, and and I think yes. exist different exceptions in the cases that that not at the beginning a person say yes. Obviously, all of us and of the actions that we realize, we hope a yes. It's so important for us because it's like the red light on our minds to say us that this action, or yes, this action is is good and is the best or something like that. But when the no, the yes is a green light and the and no is a red light. I'm sorry, I I mixed the colors. And well, and when we had a red light, obviously in this case a no, uh, we were like deceptive, sad, um, but in these times, it's so important because this life is no easy and we know it, and if all of your life based in a yes, well, it's wrong, and maybe your act your actions are simple or something like that than a person that receives uh, a different nose.
I believe that comment is absolutely interesting. Absolutely interesting. You must also become acquainted with some no's. Okay, yes, of course. Life cannot be based on a yes or only yeses. That's a very important comment. Very profound, Natty, truly. Yes, life cannot all be based on a yes. You cannot expect just yeses from people. You need to become acquainted or familiar with or accustomed with some no's, of course. You need to become acquainted, familiar, accustomed with some no's, and act correspondingly. Yes, but in general, your intention, your idea is that people normally say yes to you, right? There will be some no's, but you also don't expect that the life is full of no's. You make like of a balance between yeses and no's in life. But of course, your comment is absolutely true, right? A no can be disappointing, but also can be insightful. Can tell you, well, maybe this is a red light, maybe this is not possible. Maybe this is not legal. Maybe this is not ethical. Maybe this is not costly. Maybe this is not convenient. Some people tell you no's, and some no's are very favorable for you. Sometimes people tell you no, and it's for your advantage. The same as some yeses are motivating, but not all the yeses are beneficial for you too. So that's a great comment, Nati. Thank you. Andrea, what do you think about this idea of Nati that your life cannot be based on only yeses? You need to accept some no's, some reversals, some setbacks. You need to, or we need to accept some setbacks in life. What do you think about this idea? Some reversals in life. Andrea, what do you think?
I like so much the comment of Nati. I think that is totally respectable because depends of the interest and the um, behavior of the people. Uh, in some situations, in you how do you say comprometido?
You are committed. Some
You are
cases you
teacher. Sorry,
sometimes you are committed.
with a specific answer for don't feel um, how do you say no hacer sentir mal.
Okay, not to make people feel bad, not to make people feel bad. Okay.
Yes, teacher. But you aren't totally fine. Uh, but um, you interpose
Yes.
your benefit for the other people.
And I don't know if it is interpose or sacrifice. Sacrifice your own benefit at for your own benefit for the benefit of another person. Is that your idea,
Yes,
Andrea?
teacher. Yes.
Can you read it again, please? Sometimes here is sometimes. Okay, so sometimes you are committed. So let's read this sentence which you proposed, and let's see. Read it, please, Andrea. Can you?
Yes, teacher, can you move a little? Thank you.
Okay.
Sometimes you are committed with a specific answer. Um, Sometimes you are committed with a specific answer not to make people feel bad, but you are not totally fine and you sacrifice your own benefit for the benefit of another person.
And that is probably not fair for you either, right? So what you want to do is to maintain like a balance, but you give preference to yourself. It doesn't it may sound as egotistical, but in reality, if you want to help other people, you need to begin helping yourself first. It's like when you travel by airplane, there is these masks, and you need to put the mask to you first, and in second place you put the mask to the baby, to your brother, to your sister, to your wife, to your mom, to your dad. But you put on the mask of the airplane first, and second, you help other people. In this case, you help yourself first, and only then you are ready to help other people. And that is a key concept. Okay, we deviated a little bit from this reading, but the idea is basically the same. Thank you very much, Andrea. Nati, can you continue, please?
Yes, teacher. This man came in to open an account, said Mr. Everson, and I gave him our usual form to fill out. Some of, some of the questions he answered willingly, but there were others that flatly refused to answer. Before I began the study of human relations, I could have told this prospective depositor that if he refused to give the bank this information, we should have to refuse to accept this account. I am ashamed that I have been guilty of doing
Guilty. Guilty.
I have been guilty of doing that very thing in the past. Naturally, an ultimatum like that made me feel good. I had shown who was boss that the bank's rules and regulations couldn't be flouted. But that sort of attitude certainly didn't give a feeling of welcome and importance to the man who had walked in to give us his patronage.
Okay. Uh, thank you very much, Nati. Andrea, can you read the next two paragraphs? They closely answer the idea that prompting people to say yes. Can you continue, please?
Yes, teacher. I resolved this morning to use a little horse sense. I resolved not to talk about what the bank wanted, but about what the customer wanted. And above all else, I was determined to get him saying yes, yes, from the very start. So I agreed with him. I told him the information he refused to give to give was not absolutely. necessary. However, I said, suppose you have money in this bank at your death. Wouldn't you like to have the bank transfer it to your next of kin, who is entitled entitled
En- entitled to it,
who is
entitled to it,
entitled
to
to it
it, to it. No,
to
it, no, to it.
to it according to law. Yes, of course, he replied. Don't you think, I continued, that it would be a good idea to give us the name of your next of kin so that in the event of your death we could carry out your wishes without error or delay.
Your wishes.
Your wishes without error or delay. Again he said yes. The
Ver-
young man, sorry,
Yeah,
teacher.
continue. Yes, the young man's attitude.
The young man's attitude softened and changed when he realized that we weren't asking for this information for our sake, but of this sake. Before leaving the bank, this young man not only gave me complete information about himself, but he opened, at my suggestion, a trust account, naming his mother as the beneficiary of his account, and he had gladly answered all the questions concerning his mother also.
Okay, thank you very much. Nati, what do you think of this
Mm,
idea that you request information from people, but they refuse? They say, no, 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 that information is private. Then you tell them, yeah, but this is for your benefit. Don't you want your son or your mother or your husband or your wife to get the money in case that you die? What do you think about this method of convincing people to provide something they don't want to? What do you think?
That it's so good, because you prepare all these arguments that you can use at your favor. You can refuse a lot of bad things that maybe the opposite people have to say you. And when people it's like no, 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 well, it's better that you don't insist, because they have like a lock.
Okay, but then how do you defeat this lock? How do you open the lock? Uh, do you agree? Do you agree that we must show the benefit of accepting our proposal? Do you think, for example, in this case, the man didn't want to give the name of his mother, the name of his family members, because he wanted to be private. But then you tell the bank teller told him, listen, what happens if you die? Wouldn't you like that the money, that your money goes to a beneficiary? And then he says, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And well, maybe you think that is for our benefit, but really the information is for your benefit, the benefit of your beneficiary. Your beneficiary can be your mother, your brother, your sister, your son, can be a person that you name. So if you want that the money in case you die goes to your mother, to your dad, to your brother, etc., we need that information. And then the man says, oh, you know what? You're right. Yeah, I'm going to give you the information because that's for my benefit, right? Okay, ladies. Well, I want to thank you very much. I want to thank you for your smart comments, for your good ideas, basically. And that's it. I hope we talk about interesting topics like this one next, next Monday, right?
Right, teacher.
Okay, teacher.
Well, thank you very much. Let's finish the transmission then and have a wonderful weekend. See you on Monday, ladies. Nati, take care. Andrea, have a wonderful weekend, ladies.
Thank you so much, teacher. Goodbye. See ya. See you, Andrea.
Thank you, Natty. Thank you, teacher. Good night.
Goodbye. See you Monday. Good night.